Welcome to the BeastNet.
So how you doing?
Oh, it's been a month. I
Pretty
am
sad.
ready for August to be done.
Yeah.
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 How have you been?
I've been okay. It just work's been killing me. The I've been working 6 days a week, like sixty hours a week.
That
So
is insane.
so I'm getting like Sundays off is it. But by the time Sunday rolls around, I'm like last Sunday I did a 10K, but my time was atrocious because I'm just so run down that by the time I actually get a chance to do something, my body's like, yeah, no, we don't want
You
to do
know,
this.
it's summer, right? Summer's when you're supposed to like ease up, allow yourself to
I
take a
know.
little bit of vacation.
Yeah, but right now that I will say this, the paychecks are nice, but the you don't realize how much, even just because like my job isn't really physical or anything. I mean, I walk like 20,000 steps a day because I walk the job site. But other than that, it's not very physically demanding, but it's just the 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Just it still gets to you. And like the other day, I didn't even realize what day it was.
Wow.
And I'm just like, ugh, like mind numbing and like all the stuff. Because normally Saturdays I'd go with the group here and Conroe, and we'd go do the hybrid running group, and we'd go do some stupid workout and have fun and whatever. And haven't been able to do that in over a month. So I keep seeing them post all the crazy things they're doing. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Oh yeah, I'll be at work.
Oh, yikes.
But I mean, it's those, what they say, what first world problems. I'm working too
Mm-hmm.
much, but I mean, the nice part is, because moving last year, we had a lot of extra bills we didn't think about when we bought the house. So it's been nice getting those extra paychecks to be able, because I paid hourly, so everything over 40 is freaking overtime.
Amazing.
So I'm getting huge paychecks, but at the same time, it's like, it's like I've never completely understood this when I was younger. It's like you get the huge paychecks, but you're so beat down and so tired, you don't want to do anything with them.
Right. Well, they just
So
go straight to the bank until you have enough time to spend it.
yeah, no, but it's still like, but then the problem I have too, I'm so wiped out. I was supposed to like pretty much last week was the week that I picked that's when I'm going to start like hitting the training hard, start getting ready for, Ironman in April.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, bleh.
Yeah, I get that. Hey, ease into it.
Yeah.
Your body's gonna really appreciate it if you can do a little bit of something when your work schedule is this crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I've still been doing about at least 20 minutes or more each night on the VR, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's actually a really good cardio workout.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing at least 20 minutes a night trying to get that in, you know, trying to get a little bit of a run in here and there, at least a mile each day, but still it's like not where I want to be yet. But
Right.
I mean, like you said, I've got to ease into it. If I jump right back into where I was, I'm gonna get hurt.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't realize that is, especially when you've taken time off or if you're sick, if you're recovering from something, you need to ease back in. If you push it too
Yes.
hard, things are going to derail and you're going to have an even bigger setback.
Yeah. And then I've also started I went back to the chiropractor, which I haven't done in years. And went
Okay.
to the chiropractor and had him like, hey, because I've been having some issues with my left leg ever since the Ironman.
Hmm.
Um, that pain in my and it just hasn't gone away. And he basically said partly it's because my hips are
Out of
somehow my
line.
hips are out of alignment and there's all sorts of stuff. And he said like your neck is supposed to be at I think a 40-degree angle. He's like yours is at a 5.
Oh,
I'm like, oh yeah,
okay.
that's probably not good at all. So there's a lot of stuff there too where I'm like, okay, something I've ignored quite a bit is that physical getting, the massages, the, chiropractor, going to the doctor, making sure like, hey, am I physically, medically able to continue this stuff rather than just pushing through and going, oh, a little bit of pain is normal. And it's
Right.
really not.
Right. Okay.
Now that's been my fun month. So you've said it's a month. So how's your month going?
It hasn't been great. Started with my dad in the hospital for a heart episode. And of
Oh,
course, like every other dad who has children who work in the health and fitness industry, they tell their doctors that we are their trainers, their nutritionists. And then when we say, okay, let's make changes, they don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had to say to him, I don't believe that you're going to make any changes. If you do not do X, Y, and Z on your own, I can't help you.
Mm.
And that's stressful and not fun. But sometimes you have to set those boundaries and say, I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself.
Yeah.
When your parents in particular are having increasingly worse health issues as they're getting later in life, it's really tough and it's really emotional. So that's how it started. And then that same weekend, I went into Savage. I finished 4th female overall at Savage Boston. That's awesome.
Which is
But
amazing.
I hyperextended my knee. I went down Colossus into the pit with my legs straight. And I don't think they dug the pit out any deeper than it was last year. But of course, the ground collapses in. My feet hit the bottom of the pit and my knee hyperextended pretty badly. Luckily, it was within a mile to the finish. I was able to walk, hobble to the end. Finished 4th female overall, and by that night couldn't walk. So I've spent the entire month trying to get mobility back into my knee, get ready for toughest Chicago. Then my birthday's not always a great time. I have personal stuff with my birthday that just kind of gets kicked up, which isn't fun. And then I went to Spartan, New England, and I was teaching the obstacle specialist course. And about an hour in, I get a phone call from my mom. And usually, how this goes with my parents is they text me and say, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. I freak out. I call them and say, hey, what's going on? But as of up until this month, when they've done that, I call them in a panic. And then it's like, oh, no, it's not an emergency. Like, if you're busy, like, we just wanted to see when you were coming into town. And so I like when it happened and my mom's like, your dad's in the hospital, I was like, oh, that's not good. So then when I got the text during the obstacle specialist course, in my mind, I'm like, well, okay, she's probably just like, hey, it's Spartan race weekend. When are you coming into town? But I'm like, nah, I'm going to call just to be safe.
Yeah.
So like we stopped for a bathroom break. I called my mom and she was crying, and it turned out my grandmother passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So thank you. It wasn't unexpected. Ever since my grandfather passed 5 years ago, she was ready. She was asking to go. Her health was deteriorating. So we are very sad, but we're at peace with it. But there is still like family drama circling all of that, and it's not worth getting into. But
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that can be a tough one. I mean, it sounds bad to say, but I kind of guess I got lucky. It happened to me when I was a lot younger. So
Mhm.
I dealt with it long. Like my grandmother died when I was 16. So, but
Oh.
it was kind of one of those, she'd been sick for a while and then all of a sudden it just kind of, it happened and you're like, oh, and it's tough because like you said, you're kind of at peace with it because you knew it was coming, but at the same time, it
Mhm.
still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
sad.
I am sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, so then I went into toughest Chicago weekend, very unsure of what I'd be able to do because of my knee. Um, I went in feeling as good as can be. Ultimately, I didn't hit my goal. I had, a Murphy's Law kind of race. First lap, my feet were completely numb to the point where like I could not feel a single thing, and I thought that I was just gonna end up, tripping over my feet.
Hmm.
Um, by the second lap and by the time I started jumping over walls and everything, they woke up. I was crawling out of Mud Mile and my mudgear shorts ripped from my upper thigh straight up to, mid booty, about a mile in. So that's fun. Then mile 5, I came in, and by this time I had new shorts, of course.
Yeah.
Changed out my shoes and saw that my headlamp was it was running low because I have one with an indicator light. So I was like, hey, let's just swap out batteries. And I ended up with a headlamp that wasn't very good. So I couldn't see more than 2 feet in front of my face for an entire lap. And then by that, it was like my pacing was just way too far off. I thought maybe I could recover to try and get 45. Ultimately, I went out on an 8th lap, and by the 8th lap, I knew that I couldn't get 45. So my body was like, listen, you're good. Just enjoy a victory lap. So my body didn't want me to run at all on that lap. And I was first in my age group through majority of that race. And with 12 seconds left, as I was crawling through electric shock therapy, a woman came sprinting through and beat me with 12 seconds to take first in our age group. And I can't even be mad. Like, my body didn't want me to move anymore. I had just been through hell in the month, hell in the race. If somebody wants to go and get shocked by every single electrical wire to beat me to that finish line, like, take it. I bow down to you. Like, I am not about to do that. You go, girl. I applaud her. It was awesome to see her get emotional at the end. And I'm like, I can only applaud you. That was incredible.
No.
When I came into Mutterhorn the last time, and I saw Dave and all of the men and women of Mutterhorn, I just wanted to start crying. I was like, I don't know how I just did 40 miles with literally everything that I've been through. There were a couple times where my knee was, feeling very unstable. It was clicking. I was like, I don't know that I can do this. And my body held on. So, yeah, all things considered, it was a decent race for what I have been through. But of course, then I come home and I've been sick all week. And there is unlimited amounts of drama in this sport. And I am like, I don't want any of it right now. I just want to recover, and I want to have some fun, and I want to enjoy the last of my summer.
No, I know that feeling. I know that. I think that's one of the things, like, a lot of people know, like, I was really, really into all of it until pretty much COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then during COVID, it was like I got that, like, step back per minute, and I'm like, wow, there's no drama over here.
Right.
There's no drama when you kind of step way back from this. And I think that's one of the reasons why once COVID ended, I never stepped back in everything, because it was like, I'll keep doing the podcast, I'll keep doing races, but I don't want to get into the middle of, there's just so much drama and so much ego.
Yes, it's all ego.
And most of the stuff, if people would just step behind, and I mean, I've been guilty of it. I've done it in the past too, where my ego's got in the way. But if most of us would just step back and say, okay, drop the ego for 2 minutes, most of the people all have the same ideas. They're just a little bit tweaked.
Yeah.
And
It's
we could all probably just get along.
it's ego and entitlement. And I'll
Mhm.
say, I think probably the fact that I'm coming off of a month where I can't get literally anything done because it's like curveball after curveball after
Yeah.
curveball. And the the weekend happened to be a toughest mutter, and nothing rejuvenates the soul like a toughest mutter race. Like, Tough Mudder is phenomenal. The Tough Mudder community is phenomenal.
Yes.
There is just a whole new level of awesomeness that comes with a toughest mutter and world's toughest mutter. And that, like, even planning out today and like what I want to talk about, I'm like, honestly, I don't want to talk about drama. I don't want to vent. I don't want to talk about any of this. I want to talk about how much Toughest Mudder just makes me happy. And like being there and experiencing it, that is all the things that are good in this sport. And like, yeah, there were situations at Toughest Mudder where I got a little upset. Like you see the, somebody wearing a sprint lap leader or a leader bib come through. And, at one point it was me and another woman in the middle of the night trying to get over Blackness. And I'm trying to push it. She's trying to push it. Neither of us can get it. And the sprint lap leader and a couple of other fast guys come in, jump over, and keep going. And we're like, excuse me, like, you're not even going to help us?
Yeah.
And there were 3 guys subsequently in row just jump over and over and over. And I will say, I apologize to the sprint lap leader. I don't know his name. And I feel bad calling him out. I just saw the green bib. He did at least look back after the fact. And I think it like registered with him like, oh shit, they're stuck there.
Yeah, they're stuck. I should have sought help. I mean, because it goes back to, I think, I always want to say, I think it was Boone, wasn't it? Who, when she was racing, was the
Lindsay
leader.
Webster.
Lindsay Webster. That's
Oh
who
my
it was.
gosh. We
And she
all
turns around.
talk about that all the time.
Because that's one, we mentioned it many times too, because that's the one that's always stuck with me with Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
She's winning. She's in the lead. And she turns around to help 2 and 3.
Yes. And then she went on and won.
And then she went on to win because and so many people are like, why didn't she just leave him there? I'm like, because that's not what this is about.
That's what Tough Mudder is. And like the volunteers are great throughout the night. You come up to an obstacle and if they see you're moving fast, they'll say, hey, runner coming through, like if you guys can let them pass.
Yeah.
And it did get to a point at, 6:30 in the morning as we're all trying to get out for one more lap. We came up to Everest and it was another woman and myself and a guy came up and he's like, hey, do you guys mind if I go in front of you? And her and I both turn and look and we're like, respectfully, at 6 o'clock in the morning, if people are still out here, they're going for mileage goals. We're all trying to get one more lap in. They only had one rope there. So unfortunately, it was a little bit of a bottleneck. And, bless the Everest Angels, but like they're helping one person at a time.
Mhm.
So we're all trying to make it out on another lap.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things. And most time it's going to be, but once you're at a time, it's like, hey, yeah, cool. We've been waiting as well, too. So, I mean, it's kind of, and the Everest Angels, I mean, I would have had no idea what you were talking about, except for that I did World's Toughest last year. They are angels.
Yeah. So, part of why I was like, this is all just rejuvenating my soul. And I guess it all ties in back to racing Spartan New England, because I didn't actually race Spartan New England. I went out with my team from the Phoenix and we had a bunch of first timers, a bunch of people that have never ran more than, Spartan Fenway. And it's so inspiring to see first timers out there and how much they were falling in love with this sport. And like, that's again, something that gives me so much hope for where this sport could go by like seeing it through the eyes of a beginner. And, if we can continue to channel that enthusiasm, we can keep this alive. And like everybody that takes my class, they love coming back week after week. They tell me how my class, it's harder than the race, but they have so much fun out on the race course. They have so much fun in class, beating all of these new obstacles or learning new things, doing things they never thought possible. And like, that's why we do this sport. So then going from Spartan New England to Toughest Mudder, I'll say, so I started dating someone and he decided very last minute, literally
I saw that.
the night before I was supposed to fly out, I had already checked into my flight. And he's like, so are you sure you have a pit crew for Toughest? I said, yeah, I have a friend coming out from New York. Shout out to Thor. He is a godsend. I love him to death.
Mm-hmm.
He's flying out from New York. He's going to be there. He's going to pit for me. And he's like, That's awesome. I don't trust anybody. So, do you mind if I come too? It's like, really? He's a teacher. He started, he had to be back to school on Monday morning. I'm like, I don't want to mess up your weekend. Like, you have to be back to work first thing on Monday. Like, school is starting. Like, you need to get things set. I don't want to mess this up for you. He's like, no, I really want to be there for you. So he booked a flight. He came on out. Going into this, we know each other from the trail running world. He has raced ultras, but not obstacle course racing. He said, I've
Yeah.
had no interest in obstacle course racing. You know, I'm a hiker, I'm a rock climber, I'm an ultra runner. You know, the obstacles that I deal with, their nature, not these man-made things. I have no interest in obstacles. So he came out to toughest and he got everything set up. They wouldn't let me do a single thing before the race. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys, yes, keep doing
That's the
that.
best. That's a good pet crew.
Yeah, they were phenomenal. And like they knew exactly what I needed when I needed it. They kept me moving. It was very efficient. I love them to death. They were amazing. So after the race, I calmed down a little bit and I turned to him and I'm like, so what did you think? And he said, well, you've got me wanting to try a Tough Mudder. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I am so inspired by this community. He says, I stood there watching Mudderhorn all night. It was just so incredible to see. And he would tell me all of these different stories of the men of Mudderhorn and Renee. Shout out to Renee, woman of Mudderhorn. He's like, just watching these different people going up and seeing them help them up all night. He's like, and then I went and I watched Everest for a little bit. And he's like, he's battled with an ankle injury for a little bit now. He's like, I don't know if I could run this competitively. He's like, but Megan, I want to go and I want to run a Tough Mudder because I just want to pull people up Everest all night. It's like, that is my jam. I just want to help people get to the top of Everest. That's
Which is
all I want
amazing.
to do with Tough Mudder. Like,
Well, and it's one of those things. I mean, a lot of people don't think about this. I mean, if you've never done a Tough Mudder, you don't understand. I mean, the Matterhorn, Everest, all of these where people need help,
yeah.
and there are people who literally at like World's Toughest. I don't know if they did a lap.
Oh no.
They
I
went straight to
apologize
Matterhorn and sat there.
for not remembering anybody's names. I want to say it was Joe at Berlin Walls. He posted after the fact and said he got his bib. He went straight to the race center, turned in his timing chip, and said, no, I don't need my timing chip. Here it is. And he stayed all night at Berlin Walls. Then Deanna, she I passed her like one time on a lap and she was struggling to breathe. She went around again and she just stayed at Berlin Walls and helped all night.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, everybody is out there for such different reasons. And some people see that their race is just not going the way they wanted it to, but they're better off staying on course and helping somebody else achieve their goals than going and sleeping in the pit.
Yeah.
Going
Which
back to the guy who was like, hey, can I pass? I'm like, listen, if people are still on course at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., we have a purpose out here. And those people up on Everest, up at Mudderhorn, you know, wherever else, their purpose isn't to achieve things for themselves. Their purpose is to get all of us to our goals.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most inspiring things about this sport.
It is. And I mean, that's the one thing that, because I, most people know I've been doing Spartan race since 2015. And they believe it was 18 or 19 was the first time I finally did a Tough Mudder because I never wanted to do one because I don't like electric shock. I'm like, I'm
Oh,
not doing it.
same,
I
100% same.
don't want to get shocked. Just sounds stupid to me. I don't know why you'd even want to do that. Finally, Boggs and our friend Charity talked me into it. I'm like, fine, I'll do the one in Seattle. I'll do it. The second I was out there and watched the community, helping each other over block, get through block nests, people stopping and just sitting there spinning block nests to get people over, going, everyone helping each other up Everest, everyone out in the Matterhorn, and all of this help. And I'm like, wow. In Spartan, they kind of say, okay, help each other. But most of them, they're like, yeah, don't do this, don't do that. And in Tough Mudder, they're like, just get people over.
Well, the whole Spartan the F up attitude isn't conducive
No,
with, help your Spartan over the wall.
no.
You
Where
get you
Tough Mudder is all about. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I fell in love with Tough Mudder the first time I did it. I'm like, this is amazing.
We hear Spartan run your own race.
Yeah.
And then you see people saying this person didn't do burpees,
Yep.
this person cut the course, this person did this. And like Tough Mudder, you're not going to see people cutting the course. You're
No.
not going to see them, skirting whatever else. You're going to see them turning to their fellow mudders and saying, hey, I need some help. Hey, can you give me a boost? Or our other mothers aren't even going to give them the opportunity to ask for help. They're going to say, here, I got you.
Yeah. Which, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the first time I did Everest. I went up to and tried it, ran, completely missed. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be tough. Next time I went up and ran, and out of nowhere, all of a sudden, a hand comes out of nowhere and just snags me and
Yeah.
grabs my hand. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And then, of
Yeah.
course, once I got up there, I'm like, well, okay, he did that. Now I've got, and I turned around and helped like, 5 or 6 people and then went on my way.
Yeah. And like, that's the best part. Granted, in toughest, if we're moving, it's less likely that we turn around and say, hey, do you
Yeah.
need a hand? But there were times like I was in Mud Mile and the guy in front of me was really struggling. And I said, here, do you mind if I touch your butt? I'm going to
Yeah.
help give you a boost. Here's my hands. Did he
Yeah.
turn around and help me? No. But I know for myself, I'm going to help that person in front of
Hmm.
me if I can. If, you know, in Infinity, I was finishing up my last lap and everybody was gone. It was just me and a couple of people. And as I got up to Mutterhorn, me and another woman were running. And I said, okay, here, let me give you a boost. And I got her up. And then one of my clients was actually in the pit. And he's seeing me and he comes over. He's like, hey, do you want me to jump on and help you up? I said, thank you, but I think I've got it. And I managed to get up Mutterhorn on my own. But um, I I wasn't going to be like, listen, I'm trying to win this race. Like, you need to help me up.
Yeah.
But like, I'll always turn around if I need to and
Hmm.
offer that hand. If I know that somebody else is there and their sole purpose is to help people, more than likely they've already said, Megan, go, we've got it.
Yeah. And
But
that's it. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Those people, that's what they do. They're not there to win the race. They're not there. They're just there to make sure that you can keep moving.
yeah, just like I don't know how many times Dave and Renee have said, oh, Megan's coming through. Like, guys, Megan's next. Come on, Megan. And it's
Yeah.
like, thank you guys. I love you for that. You don't have to do that. Like, I am okay with waiting and letting everybody else who's in front of me go.
Yeah.
But there were numerous volunteers or racers who said, you're moving a lot faster than I am, or you're moving a lot faster than they are. It's okay to ask them if you can go first.
Yeah, and it's just such a great community. 'Cause that's one thing I've noticed, like, with like, because I've done, a few Spartans and you do the ultra. And usually when you're doing an ultra, people have been doing it forever. The hey, ultra coming through, which means, hey, part the seas, basically, let this person
Yeah.
through because they're doing 2 laps. And I think it was the last one I did, and we're going along, and someone's like, well, why do they get to go skip? And it's like, they're not, they get to get in front of you because they're doing 2 laps. They're doing 30 miles.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Right.
But you never hear that like in Tough Mudder. Everyone's just like, cool, help them out. Because like when I did
Yeah.
Infinity, it was the same thing. At Infinity, you're like, okay, since you're doing Infinity, they'll see you coming with the purple bib and they're like, let them through. And we got to skip all the lines. And nobody complained. It was just like all of a sudden they're like, oh, Infinity Runner. And then the seas would part and down we would go. And not one person like, oh, hey, go ahead, hurry up, and they would let
Yeah.
us right through.
I always think back to the first time I ran Jersey, the first time I ran Killington, and seeing those ultras running past me as I'm dying going up the mountain. And every single time, I mean, I still remember to this day, I'm on my first lap in an age group wave of the Jersey Beast. And I hear somebody huffing and puffing coming up behind me on the last climb, and it was Ryan Atkins about to finish the ultra.
Mhm.
6 hours after he started. And I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Ryan Atkins. Guys, ultra coming through. And he's like, no, we're all going the same place. It's okay. But every time an ultra would be running past me, they would always say, hey, good job.
Mhm.
And I keep that burned in the back of my head. So as I'm running, whatever ultra it is, if I'm passing people, I am saying, hey, good job, hey, good
Yep.
job, hey, good job. Because I am hoping that it's not only inspiring them, but inspiring myself to keep moving.
Mhm.
Like
Which is
every,
amazing.
yeah, everybody out there has a purpose. And sometimes all it takes is to hear good job from somebody else or to have that little bit of a conversation to pull them out of the race brain, to wake them up and say, oh, if they can move, I can move. And for me, it's saying you're feeling good enough that you can still talk, you can still carry on a conversation. You've got this, you can push a little bit farther. If I
Yeah.
stop talking on a race, if I can't process enough to say, hey, good job, I shouldn't be out there. And I'm going to always say, good job. You've
Yeah.
got this, keep pushing no matter what, as I'm passing people or as people are passing me.
And that's kind of me. I'm the same way. It's like say good job and then also offer help. If someone
And
needs it, I'm always going to help.
And every single volunteer you see, you
Yes.
say thank you. Every single person who is out there helping you, I thank them profusely with more than just a thank you. It's you're a rock star. I love you. I couldn't do this without you. You're my hero.
High
Um,
five, fist bump, hugs, depending on how well you know them. But
and I will say in Chicago, our volunteers were the best volunteers I've probably ever seen at
yeah,
a Tough Mudder. And of course, everybody who was out there, Mudderhorn, Everest, Berlin Walls, they were all phenomenal.
yeah.
Um, but again, if I'm not thanking the volunteers, if I'm not thanking the people that are helping, if I'm not saying good job to the people I'm running past, if I'm not dancing in the pit and whatever else, then I shouldn't be there.
No, no.
And like,
The Tough
again,
Mudder is all about. I mean, there's a competitive side to it, like you said, but it's also still about having fun.
100%. If you're not having fun, don't be there because
No,
Tough Mudder in the end is more fun than anything else. We get to play on giant obstacles in the middle of the night, crawl through mud, eat ridiculous amounts of junk food, and listen to cheesy music.
yeah,
Like, this is the most fun you could ever have.
which all sounds amazing.
I
See, now
know.
I'm missing racing because I haven't. I've only done what two? I did two Spartan weekends this year, and that's it so far.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well,
supposed to be at World's Toughest, and I'm supposed to be in Dallas.
good. Oh my gosh, I better see you at World's
Yeah,
Toughest.
I'm supposed to be in World's Toughest. I've already got my room and everything and flights. So I'm
Good.
trying to figure out. I want to go. I really want to go to the OCR World Championships or whatever in
In Mammoth.
October. Yeah, in October.
Okay. Okay. What about the North American or the USA OCR
That's what I
championships?
meant. That one. Yeah, that's in
Oh,
October.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
in
Well,
Georgia.
so is OCRWC. So that's what I was confused about.
I've been confused by
But
all of it.
no, you need to come out to the USA OCR championships in Dalton.
So on
100%.
October 12th and 13th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um,
I want to get out to that one because actually I just had on the show Dirty Diana and her sister Alex from the Para.
oh, okay. Yeah.
So I just had them on the show,
Awesome.
which I did not realize that Dirty D lives here in Houston.
Really?
Yeah, because
No
I told her where I
way.
live, and she's like, "Oh, I'm in Houston too." I'm like, "Oh, wow."
Oh,
So I might be
amazing.
doing the Houston half marathon in January with her.
Oh, that would be so
So
incredible. Oh,
yeah. So I'm really
awesome.
hoping I get to do that. I think that's gonna be a blast. So
Yeah. Well, That's amazing. You should definitely come out to Georgia for that. I'm still trying to get some details all put out and hopefully hold a coaching certification out there for USA OCR as well.
If I go, it's gonna be one of those ones. It'll have to be like I fly in for late Friday night,
Right, right.
race Saturday, and maybe what is it,
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, race Saturday, Sunday, and then go right back to the airport and go home.
Yeah. Understandable. Well, the plan is for me to go. I don't know that I would race, but I'd probably serve as an official. Because I mean, I do so much for USA OCR, and especially after Savage and hyperextending my knee, I don't know that I want to risk any other, B or C races. As much as I want to go to Midwest OCR, oh my God, I'm dying to go to Midwest OCR. I don't want to put World's Toughest Mudder in jeopardy. If I can just log more training miles instead and like serve as an official at whatever races, whether it's Killington or,
Yeah,
USA OCR or whatever else, like I will volunteer my time. I will work as a technical official and I will just focus on my training because in the end, I want to see this sport last longer than necessarily my racing career. And World's Toughest Mudder is my A race, and I want to make sure that I am my peak physique for that.
yeah. And that's my thing. I want to get back. I want to get into shape. I'm so soon. My A race is going to be, I'm doing the Ironman again in April.
Right,
I need redemption for myself
right.
because I finished it, but I didn't finish it in the time I needed to. And I didn't finish it in the time I wanted to.
Okay.
So, and that's where my brain is. And I need to start. Like I said, this week was supposed to be the week that I start like getting back into it. So I've got plans because having Monday off because of the holiday. I'm gonna try and I want to start getting into at least 15 plus miles a week on the bike.
Good.
Start getting into that, start hitting the pool on my way home from work. Because it's right, I drive past the pool on my way home. So stop there
Right.
for, get the pool in and everything else and try getting back into the rhythm of working out. I mean, like I said, the tough part has just been the, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, just kind of, warps your mind.
Right.
But yeah, no, I definitely want to go to the USA OCR. I want to. I'm trying to figure it out. My wife keeps giving me that like weird look when I say something about it. So, you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah. You know what look I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, not really. But
Hey, we got to support the community.
yeah. And it's one of those things I may not even race. It may just be go to like help support More Heart Than Scars if they need somebody to help with one of the para athletes or whatever. You
Yep.
know, I just kind of want to go there. I mean, it's the first one and we need to support it.
We can always use more technical officials as well.
No,
So
no.
just say the
It,
word and I will put you through technical official training and we will get you out there officiating too.
yeah, we'll
So,
do.
and that goes for anybody listening.
Yeah, anybody listening, get out there.
If you are close enough to Dalton, Georgia, or if you want to make the trip out to Dalton, Georgia, and you're unsure if you want to race, come and volunteer, come and officiate, come and support. Right now, we just need to keep spreading the word and getting more people there, seeing what we're doing and supporting USA OCR as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think this is the first event of what we all hope to be many.
Yes.
So, and we need the support of the community to make sure this blows up and keeps going.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many other race brands that are going to be supporting this. And that's what we've been asking for. If we think back to the days of OCRWC and, Ohio and Canada, when they would have different race brands bring their obstacles, this is what we're doing. We've
Yeah.
got so many races bringing us obstacles. This is your time to get out and test out a barbarian obstacle, a Phoenix race obstacle, a savage obstacle if you're out on the West Coast. That we are going to have so many people there. So we want to get more people coming out and trying their hand at this format that's similar to what they just saw in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And depending on how you do, if you are competing, you could potentially make it into the USA OCR national team for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna do that good, even if I do run, but
That's okay. You know, everybody races for their own purpose. And I think hopefully that's what people are getting out of this episode, you know, talking about how great the community is, how everybody goes out with their specific intentions in mind. And I know we kind of deviated off of toughest for a little bit to USA OCR, but one of the other things that um, my man friend had mentioned was how impressed he was by how many people actually stuck around for the awards after a 12-hour ultra.
yeah, there is a lot of people usually that stick around.
Yeah, again, the community, they support everybody. They're cheering each other on, and like you don't see that even at Spartan races anymore. Nobody is there watching the podiums
No.
unless they're physically collecting a medal. And I think we need to get back to that. You know, let's celebrate the people who are winning, but like also stand at the finish line and like celebrate the people that are crossing, regardless of if they're first or if they're just beating their time from last year. I mean, you had somebody legitimately finish toughest with like seconds to spare on the clock. And that is always one of the most inspiring things.
Yeah.
Standing there at, you know, 7:59, cheering everybody on.
Which
It's
is amazing.
amazing.
I mean, and that's one of the things that I always loved was, when I really was doing stuff with Spartan and I was the street team, everything else, one of my favorite things to do was when the last person was coming
Mhm.
through was to make sure to be there, standing there watching.
Yeah. Hey, I tell everybody, especially now, we've got Killington just around the corner. You know, once you're done with the beast, go back, like hang out, sip your beer, grab some food, watch the headlamps coming down the mountain, and stand at that finish line between 8 and 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
particularly as everybody's getting ready for that cutoff, and see all those people who have been suffering for 14 hours and all they want is that buckle. And even though they can barely move, their body hurts, they're in tears, they will find whatever strength they can to beat that last time cutoff.
Hmm. And that's it. When all of a sudden, because I mean, that was the one thing, because I mean, when I did the Ironman, I was pretty much the last person. I'm pretty sure I was the last person they left across the finish line because I was past time, which
Yeah,
that's my biggest problem. I was past time, and I know that. But the second, like, I was coming around one of the corners, and they're like, "You have 8 minutes,"
yeah,
and they're closing, and I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, I gotta get a long way in 8 minutes. And I started. I mean, after everything I'd been through in 8+ hours out on the course, I started running. And that is the one thing is that finish line to watch where people all of a sudden, for whatever reason, either they know they're about to beat their time, they know they're about to do what, and they start sprinting, and that look on someone's face when they finally cross.
yeah.
Like, I did it.
You know,
That is amazing.
in the ultra running world, it is a badge of honor to be DFL, dead effing last,
Yeah.
because that means you didn't quit. You didn't give up. There are so many people that dropped and you did not.
Yep.
You grinded it out and you finished. And I don't care if it's a sprint, if it's an ultra, anything in between. It is a badge of honor to cross that finish line and say, I just did this. Again, when I came up to Mutterhorn, I looked at Dave, I saw my pit crew, and I said, I don't know how I just did this with everything that I've been through this month. I should not have been able to run 40 miles with minimal pain. My
Hmm.
feet were completely numb. The entire race course saw all the way up my ass. I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me for an entire 5 miles, but I just ran 40 miles.
Hmm.
I didn't quit.
Yeah.
When every part of my body said, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't have even come to this. You have no reason to be out here. You weren't going to get elite contender. You could have just been at home. You could have gone to see the Dropkick Murphys. But no, I went out and I fought like hell to finish.
Hmm. And that's what makes ultra runners and stuff like that different.
Yeah.
Because, when you shouldn't be doing this, you're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing, I need to get back to. Like this year, I think was a wake-up call for me. I mean, I know I finished the Ironman, but did I really? I missed the cut, and I know I keep harping on that, but in my brain, I know I missed it, and that drives me nuts. I went and did Sisu, did not get what I wanted to. My own fault, because I wasn't prepared like I should have been. And
Hmm.
that's been my problem this year. I've done everything I've done it all, but not to the level that I should be because my training and everything else have not been where they should be. So that's kind of been like the last month I've been able to like wallow in my self-pity because I freaking know what I did wrong. And now it's pretty much that point in my brain where I'm like, okay, you wallowed long enough. Now you know what you did wrong. You know why this year was tough for you. Fix it, you know.
You know you can do this. You've
Hmm.
done it.
Yeah.
Yes, you missed the time cutoff. That's your motivation. You finished. You did the mileage.
Hmm.
Now you just got to get faster. You know you can do this. You can
Yeah.
only going to get better from here.
Yes. And I know what I need to do different. I know what I need to train harder on. My biggest mistake, I focused, I think, too hard on the swim and not enough on the bike.
Okay.
So, but even then, in all reality, the run was also what got me. If I was above in front of my pace that I needed when I got off the bike. The run is
Okay.
where I dropped off.
Okay.
That's where I dropped off was the run. But still, as we all know in triathlon, if I shave off a bunch of time on the bike, the run doesn't matter as much. But
Right.
also, the more I train on the bike, the better I'm going to do on the run because you know how it is. It's
Yes.
all.
Yes.
So I need to get back into that. I need to get more into the, lifting. I need to clean up my garage. That's actually my job on Monday, right now because I was fixing things on my kayak. My kayak's inflated in the way of everything. So
Okay.
the seats didn't work right because every time you went to like paddle, this back just moved and you just ended up laying down.
Yeah.
So I fixed the seats, but I had to like have it inflated in the garage to fix everything. So I've
Right.
got to deflate it and get it out of the way so that I can start. And that's my plan on the weekend. And then get the
Okay.
trainer all set up, get everything going so that I can get the garage back to where it should be.
Okay. Do you have a schedule laid out?
Nope, that's the next step. I do have one that someone made for me a while ago that I was going to start using as the base to start setting a schedule out. But
Set your schedule and then put it on your calendar.
mhm,
Mark
that's going to
out
be,
those workout times and say, nope, I got to do it.
and it's going to be my calendar. And I'm going to put a calendar on the wall in the gym
Yes.
so that I can go up and like, for me, it's one of those, and it sounds weird, but the check off, like
Nope.
done,
Not
done.
weird. If it
So,
works for you, keep it. Just got to find ways to hold yourself accountable.
yep, got to hold myself accountable. Got to get the bike back in, doing the bike, the swim. And that was one thing that I did before when I was training for the Ironman. I did have in my brain, like, I need this much time on this much mileage on the bike, this much time in swimming and everything else going up into it. But I think I had too much time on the swim and not enough on the bike
Okay.
and not enough on the run. So
Hey,
get
let's
those two in.
just shave off time everywhere.
Yeah, if I shave off time everywhere, it'd be great. Because that's my worry, though. I can't add any time to the swim because I only had a 4 minute buffer on the swim.
Okay.
Because you have an hour and 10, I finished an hour and 6.
Hey, let's just get you under an hour in the swim.
Yeah, that's the goal. Get under an hour in the swim, get the bike down to, what?
Yeah.
I'd like to get the bike under 4. I'd like to
Okay.
get it down to 3, but I definitely want to be under 4.
Okay.
So, and I think when I did this last time, I was at like 4:15.
Okay.
So, yeah. So just shave some time off, get to it. But I still want to. That's the other thing is I got to watch myself because like you mentioned, like the A race and the B race, and that's one thing that took me a long time to really get into my brain was the idea of that, where I still want to help like more heart than scars and I want to do stuff like that. But like when I did Tough Mudder, world's toughest. I think I touched 3 obstacles the whole night
Hmm.
because I was helping Marla.
Right.
And that was my main goal. And that was one of the things like I told Joey and them, I'm like, I don't want, I want to help. I want to do all this, but I can't hurt myself
Hmm.
because if I get hurt doing this, it ruins my A race.
Hmm.
So it's like, I want to do this and help, but I want to also make sure and protect myself as much as I can. So that's one of the reasons why I like kind of being the guide because as a guide, I can do the obstacles, I can do whatever. So it's a little bit different, but I do know US AOCR. If I run as a guide, I still have to do the obstacles.
Right. Yeah. There's
So
different pair of
different rules
rules.
for different races, but yeah,
Yep.
because in Tough Mudder, the rule they made was at least one person of the group had to do the obstacle.
Oh, okay.
So whether it was the racer or at least one person. So if
Yep.
it was an obstacle that would, for whatever reason, Martha was not able to because of her, her health issues,
Uh-huh.
then we'd have somebody else do it for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So, and that's one thing I got to look at is really, and we've talked about this last year, and now I think after talking about it last year, coming up with everything, and then actually seeing how everything played out this year, and I'm like, huh, should have listened to Megan. But now it's more of a, now it's like, okay, now I understand in my brain. I'm like, I see what I need to do. I need to get back into the training hard and getting myself to where I should be so that I can
Mhm.
do the Ironman. Because, like I said, that's my main one. I want the
Right.
Ironman, and then after that, it's kind of whatever comes into play.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm going back to Seattle for Sisu, but
Right.
and if I get Ironman and then keep the training going and then be ready for Sisu because Sisu's just hiking. But
Yeah. I want to run Sisu. I'm so mad that they
come up to
moved World's Toughest Mudder next year to middle of the summer because now one of my best friends, Derek, obstacle activist, he's moving up to Seattle. And I was like, oh my gosh, even more reason to go to Seattle, run Sisu. And World's Toughest Mudder in July.
yeah, but Sisu's in June.
It's the end of June.
Yeah, I
World's
know.
Toughest Mudder's the beginning of July.
Yeah, so
It's a little too close.
that is close. But I
Remember,
mean,
you literally just talked about
I know we just
A
talked
race
about
and
the
B
A race
race.
and B race, but you
My
see,
coach,
it's
he told
Sisu
me,
for me is just it's a race I love.
yeah,
So
I know. I wanted to run a 100-miler in October this year, and my coach was like, it's like a little too close to World's Toughest Mudder.
yeah.
So being like, hey, this 24-hour race in Seattle, can I run it the week before World's Toughest Mudder? That's
Well,
a hard no.
I would say, I mean, I know you, and it's one of the reasons why I love you, but I would say just, oh, you don't have to run as many miles. You can just run a few miles and hang out and camp and goof
No,
off.
I'm not going
But
out there if I can't
that's why I just said I know
grind.
you and I love you, and I know that's not gonna work. So
Listen, I'm the person that like I volunteered for the fit challenge, survival of the fittest 30 hour. And I said, Rob, I'm gonna come out there, I'm gonna help all day as long as I can get a couple hours of running in the middle of the night, camp out, wake up, get a couple of miles in the morning just so I can train rather than say I'm signing up for this entire 30-hour race because I'm going to run that entire 30 hours.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, the Sisu is for anybody who's listening, if you haven't never done it, the Pacific Northwest Sisu put on by Tony Matisi is so much fun.
I'm going to get there one day, one
You've
day.
got to. The I gotta get ready because this year's what killed me is that I think I told you we did the first one, we did the longest one with the most elevation right off the bat.
Wow.
We did
Wow.
it. It's 19 miles with I think over 4,000 feet elevation.
Okay.
So I mean it's brutal, and I mean of course it's 19. It's an out and back, so that 4,000 feet up is in 9.5 miles.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of up. But we did that one first. So by the time we got back, I was smoked. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was good. Um, and then I started doing and what killed me is being down here in Texas now,
Hmm.
I'm not used to the pollen up there.
Oh, yeah.
So I was completely like My sinuses were felt like they were going to explode. I was having problems breathing. I had problems with the hills, and I'm like, okay, part of this is because I need to lose some weight again, but other parts, so I need to make sure I'm a little bit more prepared for next year. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, but hey, it happens.
it does. Live and learn.
Live and learn.
Motivation for next year.
That's what we do. I mean, and I think that's the why too. Like I was saying, why we're people like us and endurance racers and stuff like that are built different because most people be like, okay, this didn't go well, mm, whatever.
Yeah.
Where we're like, okay, this didn't go well, so now I need to do this, and this to fix it for next year.
Oh no, most people say, "Oh, this didn't go well," and then they hear somebody say, "You signed up for this."
Mm,
And I'm like, "Yeah, you're damn right I signed up for it. This didn't go well and I need to fix this. And they're like, "You're gonna do that to yourself again?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was amazing. That was so much fun. Let's do it again."
and that's why like I said,
I
we're built
can't
different.
walk. My knee is swollen. You're gonna have to carry me up the stairs.
Yeah,
Let's do it again.
yeah, that was me pretty much the day when I came back from work afterwards. I got to work on like Monday, and I'm like barely moving as I'm walking through
Yeah.
the warehouse, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." Hmm. They're like, "You
I
did this to yourself." I'm like, "I know, and I'll do it again next year."
I legitimately like, I mean, I train clients one-on-one. I am up and down the stairs of the studio all day, every day, like grabbing things. On Tuesday, I was in work training a client. I'm like, we need the mace. I'm like, it's upstairs. Do you want to go upstairs and get the mace? She's like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, good. Because I don't want to go back downstairs.
Good, because I'm not going up. If I go up the stairs, I'm not coming back down.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's one thing a lot of people don't realize too. A lot of times when you have knee injuries, people think it's going up, and it's
No, it's,
not. It's
yeah,
down.
it's the down.
Because that's what always got me. Because when I blew my knee in 2011, that's what it was. I was running the Seattle half marathon, rock and roll half marathon, and it was like a steep downhill, and all of a sudden my knee just goes pop,
Yeah,
and I mean I was done.
yeah.
I mean I may have ran another 6 miles on it and finished the race, but that was stupid. So
You're an ultra runner.
yeah, it's just one of those things. It's the more times I've hurt myself, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I was talking about like with the Iron Man when 2 years ago when I fell and hurt my shoulder, and they're like, oh, what'd you do? So you were done. I'm like, oh no, I popped my shoulder back into place and kept going.
Yep.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like what, a couple more miles? I'm like, oh no, it was about another 30 miles. It was fine.
Sounds about
Whatever.
right.
Yeah. So like I said, built different.
Yep.
Oh, so what do you got coming up? I know you got world stuff as we mentioned that and the
Yeah.
OCR world.
So, well, I'm trying to decide what exactly I want to do. We have the last Boulder Dash race, not this weekend, but next weekend. And that's very sad. Um, I want to go out and support them for their final race. So that's also the weekend of my grandmother's funeral. So I have to figure out what's going on with that. If I can make it to Wisconsin, if I can make it to Boulder Dash. Um, and then the following weekend is Killington. And I'm supposed to teach the obstacle specialist course in Killington if we have enough people signed up. So if you're going to Killington, sign up for the obstacle specialist course on Friday. It's going to be phenomenal.
Of course, you're teaching it.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, when I teach an obstacle specialist course, I pretty much toss the manual away because they still haven't released the new manual we wrote 2 years ago. And I say, what do you guys want to learn? I said, Spartan makes us teach this. I will show you exactly what you need to know. And then from there, let's figure out what else you want to do.
Yeah.
So I tailor it specifically to whoever's there and what they want to learn.
The best way to do it. That's how I do OSHA
Yeah,
classes pretty much. OSHA says I
yeah,
have to do this, and then we have this much time left. What do you want to learn?
exactly. Um, but then I would like to go out to Midwest OCR. That's also another weekend that there's a family obligation in Wisconsin. And like part of me feels like, because I want to run the endurance at Midwest OCR, but if I'm out in the Midwest for that race, I should probably make it to my cousin's wedding up in Wausau, Wisconsin that day.
Probably.
I can't justify being in the Midwest and not going to the wedding, but like I don't want to just run a 10K. It's not worth my time to fly out for just a 10K, although I really want to support them. I am doing endurance racing and I want to get as many miles as I can, as many obstacles as I can. So it's like, trying to decide about that, but also Hatebreed is in town the night before. And I'm friends with the guitarist of Hatebreed, and one of my best friends is obsessed with Hatebreed. And a couple of years ago, my best friend was about to have surgery. It was he had a whole mess of heart issues. He was deadlifting like 500 pounds, ended up triggering he got an infection from deadlifting because he like nicked his shin. It triggered a heart condition. He gained massive amount of weight, almost died. He had like 20% pumping power left in his heart. And ultimately, it took a long while for him to get back cleared, but he needed weight loss surgery just to be able to fix his heart. And a couple days before he was scheduled to go into weight loss surgery, Hatebreed and Parkway Drive were coming into Boston, and those are his two favorite bands. So I texted Wayne and I said, hey, listen, like my friend loves your band, is obsessed. He almost died. He has been in and out of the hospital for 7 years. Like he's coming to the show. Would you just be able to say hi to him? And Wayne was like, yeah, definitely. Like, come on through. Like, I'll make sure to like put him on the side stage. We'll say hi. And then ultimately Parkway Drive canceled the tour. So my friend still has not actually met Hatebreed. So this is going to be the opportunity to hopefully get in and meet Wayne, meet Jamie. So I'm like, part of me really wants to take my friend to the Hatebreed show and introduce him to the band. So
That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's a whole decisions to be made, but then
See, they're not even coming they're only going to San Antonio. They're not even coming to Houston.
Really?
Jerks.
And this is going to be a good tour. It's their 30th anniversary tour.
Yeah, they're not coming to Houston. But I am seeing next month, I'm seeing Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. They're coming here next week. And that was another thing that I was like, we need to double check that calendar because we really want to go see Rob Zombie again. He's from Haverhill. So,
oh, yeah, I've seen Zombie, I think 6 times now.
Yeah, he puts on
but
such a great show.
I've never seen Cooper.
Oh, I haven't seen Cooper either.
And I mean, I'm figuring we're running out of time.
I know. I'm going to see NoFX tomorrow. It's Pumpkin Drublick. So we're doing both days, tomorrow and Sunday, and then Dropkick Murphys are performing right before NoFX on Sunday.
So you're living my best life, I swear.
I know. But yeah, then not going to OCRWC this year. USA OCR, I'm going to try and get that certification course on the Friday before. So if you're a coach, if you're a technical official, look for that. I will have more information as soon as it's ready. And then I want to work as a technical official during that race, and then just training really until World's Toughest Mudder.
Right on. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're hitting that hour mark.
We've hit it.
We always hit the hour mark.
We do. But we have so much fun talking.
We do. That's why it's so amazing. Like I was so happy last year when I finally got to like physically meet you at World's Toughest. So even though we were both kind of like, hi, because we're like wrecked, but yeah. So
hey, we'll do it again this year.
We will. And hopefully I'll see you in Georgia. I've got to figure that out. So
yes, definitely.
My wife's gonna get mad at me if I keep mentioning it. So I figure if I keep mentioning it, she'll just magically make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it'll be fun. So,
perfect.
All right. Well, we will talk soon.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. All right. And good luck at those concerts. So
thank you.
You're gonna have to tell me how they were.
Oh, I will.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.